Okay, everybody. Good morning, everybody. As we go to the class today, Bahar B'Chukosai. You can find it.
Rabbi, do other people who are on video on Zoom see you? Oh, wait, maybe I don't understand.
Nobody sees me?
I don't. I don't know what's going on. All of a sudden, it went blank.
Ellie, do you see me?
I see you. I'm on my way in, but I see you.
I don't get it.
You don't see me?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
What did I
Good
do?
there. Big Aaron Kodesh behind you
Yep.
I don't know what I did.
and the books. Do you see anybody, Ann?
I don't see
You need
anybody.
to, okay, what should I tell you? I'm not a, hello.
You go out and
Let's
come
roll.
back in again. Maybe you pushed
went
something.
He's not an illusion. But we see you, Ann. Oh, she went off. She's coming back in. So I guess we should start.
Yes, let's start. Okay, so this class starts on page 61. You have a picture in your book. You have a picture. Right? Is there a picture there?
Yes.
Okay, to those that don't see the picture, if you're on Zoom, I'll show you the picture.
Somebody pulling himself up by his own hairs.
Right. Somebody pulling himself up by his own ears.
Yeah. It's like,
Ears, I mean.
gonna rise up.
This is a seemingly a famous picture by Baron Munchausen. It's called The Remarkable Leap. It's seemingly a guy who's pulling himself up, not only himself, but the horse with him by his own hair. By, I would say, his payas. If he was a chussid, he would have long payas. So he's pulling himself up by these payas. And the meaning of the picture is, as he calls it, remarkable leap. It's unbelievable. A person, we can call such a person, a person that you have an expression, you pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. That's the American expression. Self-made man. Self-understood. It's a beautiful picture. I never saw the original picture, but what's amazing? What would you ultimately say about this picture? It's impossible. Impossible. You cannot. It's a remarkable leap, but an impossible leap, because nobody can pull themselves up by the payas, especially a horse, out of the water. It's impossible. And we're going to learn something beautiful that Rebbe learns from the Psarsha. Truly a beautiful portion this week. And the Rebbe is going to learn something, and the Rebbe begged about this concept over the years. A famous saying in the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos, which he begged people to have as an important thing that we all need in our lives. I'll say soon what that is. And the Rebbe expresses this in this Psarsha, and I expressed it through the teaching, one of the beautiful teachings of this Psarsha. So in the Psarsha Bahar, this week is a loaded 2-week Psarsha, Bahar B'Chukotai, 2 weeks. It's 2 Parshas in 1 week. But in Bahar, we start off with the Shemitah, the law of Shemitah. That's how the Torah starts off, and then the Torah goes into the law of land. Selling of land, redeeming of land. Then the Torah goes into the law of slaves, redemption, selling of slaves, redemption of slaves. And the Torah is separated by a Jew that buys a slave to a non-Jew that buys a slave. That's the last thing that the Torah mentions, a non-Jew buying a slave. And this is, the Rebbe learned something out of the 3 verses that are in front of you, page 62, which is Leviticus chapter 25, verse 47, 48, and 49. So these are the verses. Let's just see the verses itself. If a resident non-Jew gains wealth with you, and your brother becomes destitute, a Jew becomes destitute with him, and is sold to a resident non-Jew amongst you, we're talking about the land of Israel, he's sold to you as a slave, or to an idol of the family of a non-Jew, right? The Jew becomes a slave to a non-Jewish master. The Torah tells, that's verse 47. Torah tells, after he's sold, he shall have redemption. You should redeem the slave. Should get him out of his slavery. Right? He became a slave to a non-Jew. Now he has to work on Shabbos. He has to do things that maybe he's not allowed to do. So you got to get him out of slavery. One, his brothers. So first of all, his brothers should free him. Then the interesting next verse. Or his uncle, or his cousins shall redeem him. Or the closest other relatives in his family shall redeem him. Or ultimately, becomes able to afford it. He, the slave himself, can free himself. He can buy himself back. Maybe the slave will suddenly win the lottery and he will be able to redeem himself. That's the 3 verses of the Torah. Now, if I ask you, what would you say is missing in these verses? What is missing? You say. Number 1, where's the father? Father, his uncle, his cousins. What happened? What happened? It's over here. You're right. Well, really, the question is, where's the father in this situation? Isn't the father mentioned in this part, in this whole story? Number 2 is, why would the Torah put the guy the last? Why wouldn't you say the guy to redeem himself? If he gave the capability to redeem, why did the Torah put him the last? So this is a question that the father is really a powerful question. That why the father is not put into the redemption of this story. Why the male is something that in those times everything was belong, in the Torah law belonged to the male, and therefore he had the right to redeem and not to redeem. It's as simple as that. I knew somebody's going to ask that question, but okay. Fine. Okay, so that's the question that's asked. Rebbe goes to a simple Rashi to answer this question. The Lubavitch Rebbe goes to a Rashi in the Parsha, and there's a beautiful Rashi. The Rashi says, what is the continuation? The whole Parsha. We start off with the Shemitah, the law of Jubilee, the law of the 7th year sabbatical year, and then we go to selling land. And what is the continuation, the flow of the Torah? And there's a Rashi in this week's Parsha. Look at the Rashi. It's in your text number 2 of this week's Parsha. The Rashi explains it as follows. The passages of this whole section are written in a meaningful order. And it is as follows. The first scripture admonishes us in observance of the law of Shemitah. The Torah starts off with the law of Shemitah. That's the beginning of the Torah. Then it goes to convert money and become substance unlawful doing business in Shemitah. So the Torah tells us, if you don't keep the Shemitah, God says in the 7th year, I want you to keep the Shemitah of separating yourself from the land, not working the land. Then God says that if you don't follow that concept, right? The mitzvah. What happens? What happens if a person doesn't follow the wishes of God? So the next thing will be, he will eventually become destitute and have to sell his personal belongings. The Torah tells us you're not allowed to do einah. You're not allowed to do einah. You're not allowed to charge too much money for the selling of your personal belongings. Therefore, the scripture says you make a sale of your fellow Jew. What is written therein? Or make a purchase from his hand. Something that's transferred from hand to hand. So the Torah talks about you're gonna do a sale of your property. You're gonna have to sell property that are movable property. You sell your rings. You're gonna have to start selling you're gonna have to make a garage sale. You're gonna have to start selling your objects. If you're still not going to repent, you're going to have to sell your inheritance. Then now you're going to have to sell your land. You're going to have to sell your land, your fields, your sadis, your orchid, your gardens. If it still doesn't help, you'll eventually have to sell your house. It still doesn't work. You will eventually have to borrow money on interest. That's why suddenly you have the laws of interest, that the Jew is not allowed to take interest from somebody that he lends money to. And so on and so forth. And now in the latter scenario of this passage, the more severe it is, if he still does not repent, he will eventually have to sell himself. And that's how we go to slavery. That's the Parsha. So slowly you're going from not doing what is right. What happens when a person doesn't do what is right? He's unethical. He doesn't do what was asked of him to do. Slowly but surely, he starts to lose everything that he owns. And then ultimately, he loses his own freedom. He sells himself to a Jew. If that doesn't work, he'll sell himself to even a guy. Have to sell himself to even a guy. And that's the Rashi. So that's how Rashi learns the whole Parsha. Rashi packages the whole Parsha, and he says the whole Parsha is really a story of a Jewish journey, the Jewish journey. And then how does the Torah end off this whole Parsha? Is in text number 30a. The Torah ends off this Parsha. You shall not make idols for yourself. That's what's ultimately going to come about. That's when Jewish people sell their souls. We give up on Yiddishkeit. What ultimately happens? What's the end of the story? The end of the Parsha's Bahar? We're making idols. That's it. That's what we come to. Nor shall you statue monuments for yourself, and your land shall not place of pavement stones which prostrate yourself. I am the Lord your God. Asher, this is addressed to one who's sold as a servant to a non-Jew. That he should not say, since my master has illicit relationships, I'll also like him. Since my master worships idols, I'll also be like him. Since my master desecrates the Shabbos, I shall also be like him. It's assimilation. That's where the Torah says ultimately, you see assimilation. Assimilation, we become part of the nations of the world. The nations of the world do this. So why can't I do this? So we've gone from Shemitah, which is the hardest mitzvah, a very hard mitzvah to do. Nobody's arguing with you, to give away your land for a year, and sometimes 2 years, you have Jubilee, and sometimes 3 years. And it's not an easy thing to do. But ultimately, if we give away Yiddishkeit, we're giving away everything. We're selling. We're up for sale. If we give away Yiddishkeit, everything's up for sale. Everything's up for sale. And at the end of the Parsha, we're Americans. We become assimilated. We become like Americans. That's it. That's what we became. Too early. So that's the Rashi. That's the Rashi. It's not even the Rebbe. That's the Rashi. Rashi paints a beautiful picture of the whole story, the whole Bahar, the whole story of the Torah. What the Torah is telling you, what's going to happen from A to Z. You want to see what's going to happen? That's what's going to happen. And finished. So that's you want that journey? That's your journey. But the Rebbe is still bothered. So how do we stop this journey? How does one stop the journey? You have to find the core problem. We got to find the problem. We're not going to, you telling me that there's a problem? Thank you. What is the problem? What is the problem? Where did the Torah tell us? What stops us from doing mitzvahs? That's really the question. If this is a journey of a Jew that stops doing Torah mitzvahs and stops doing what is right, so how do we stop that situation? How do we stop it? So therefore, the Rebbe says, this law tells you the problem. This law tells you the problem. That the Torah doesn't write the father, that is the problem. Because it's not the physical father that is missing in this in the story. It's your spiritual father that is missing in the story.
Both.
So when you are missing the spiritual father, what?
Both are missing.
Never. But when we're talking about the spiritual Psarsha, the spiritual behind the Psarsha, we're missing the spiritual father in the story. Now, the spiritual father, there's two concepts to the spiritual father in Torah. Spiritual father is God, that's number one. But the father also in Chassidus is wisdom. We're missing the father, and actually in this context, when we're missing the father, we're missing the mother. And that's Bina. We're missing the father and the mother. When you're missing Chachma, when you're missing wisdom, you're missing understanding. So once you're missing, that's what it says, Im ein Chachma ein Bina. If there's no wisdom, there's no understanding. And if there's no wisdom, understanding, there's no wisdom. So if there's no father, there's no mother. If there's no mother, there's no father. Then you need to have parents. You need to have wisdom and understanding in your life. So that is your core problem. That is the problem. In essence, the Torah emphasizes what is your problem. When one forgets the father. So look at the words of the Malachi, the simple meaning of God. A son honors a father, and a slave honors his master. Now, if I am the father, the prophet says, where is my honor? What happened? Forgot all about me. And if I'm your master, where is my fear? So seemingly, I'm not your master. I'm not your father. I'm garnished. Says the Lord, the host, you priests who despise my name. But you said, how have we despised your name? Where are you? So here is a simple meaning. Simple meaning. We forgot the Eibishter. We forgot the father. Father's not in the picture. The father's not in the picture. So what do you want? What do you expect if you take God out of the picture? Even if one would do Torah mitzvahs and take God out of the picture, which we all know the Yavanim, the Greeks wanted to accomplish that, it would still be a problem. Because take God out of the picture, ultimately everything is going to fall apart. So the Rebbe says in text number 5, we can now understand the spiritual reason why the father is not mentioned in the verse. The verse speaks of somebody who is spiritually dead. He sold himself as a slave. He sold himself as a guy to a guy, to the nations of the world. He sold himself. Imagine. The guy knows that he's automatically going to have to do things he's not allowed to do. But he has no choice. He came to the conclusion he has no choice. His morals, he's willing to sell his ethics, he's willing to sell his spirituality, he's willing to sell his stuff down the tube. The verse speaks of someone who's spiritually dead, for the wicked are called dead, even when they're alive. In more abstract terms, anyone experiencing spiritual decline is considered to be experiencing a form of death. What causes this? The fact that the person forgot the Father in heaven. Forget our Father in heaven. We're slowly going downhill. We need to always remember that we have a Father in heaven. We have the Eibishter. Can't give up on him. Are you with me? Now, a Jew never gives up on God. We know that. A Jew never gives up on God. That's one of the things that we all have. We all are maminim b'nei maminim. We all are believers or sons of believers. And the Alter Rebbe proved that already in Tanya. The Alter Rebbe brought that in Tanya, that a Jew, even though he might be say that he doesn't believe, he really believes. And that's why the text number 6a, the Alter Rebbe says, even the most insincere and sinful Jews possesses the bright birthright of their soul. And that's the level of Chachma that contains the essence of God himself. It turns out that the essence of God is integrated within the soul of every Jew, whoever they may be. So therefore, everybody has Chachma. Everybody has wisdom of God. There's not a soul, there's not a Jew that doesn't have the spark of God, which is like the Yud. Chachma, wisdom, is symbolic in the Yud, the Pintel Yid. This Chachma serves as a source of all cognition. Yet, it is higher than cognition process that breaks down intellectual matter, for it's a source of all. This explains how it is landing spot for the essence of God himself that transcends all reasons. Thus, even the simplest Jew believes in God, for this is faith. For this, faith is beyond reason. And the Alter Rebbe proves it. And he explains
Wait,
this.
Rabbi, how do you
Yeah.
then explain agnostics and atheists?
Agnostics, because they think they're agnostics. There's no atheist in a foxhole.
It's true. Yeah, the
Think
old
they're
man in the
agnostic.
sea,
They
yeah.
think it's all, the Rambam writes today, there's no person, it's all lack of knowledge. It's all lack of knowledge. Years ago, like I mentioned to Rashi today, Rashi says, Stoim and Amira were people that were extremely knowledgeable people, and they went against God. Today, there's no such thing anymore. It's all ignorance. It's all ignorance. They don't know what God is. Even if they say they know what God is, they don't know what they're talking about. So it's all ignorance. And that's why the Rambam writes, there's no such thing today. Rambam, and even we're talking about 800 years ago, writes, there's no apokursim and agnostics and hatreds. And it's all ignorance. They have no knowledge. Because even those that have knowledge of the Torah don't have knowledge. So for surely those that don't have knowledge, surely have no knowledge. It's just ignorance. We're living in a generation of ignorance. As much as we think you have knowledge, we're far from knowledge. So therefore, the Rebbe writes, Alter Rebbe writes, it also explains that even insincere and sinful Jews will typically give their life for God, which doesn't make sense. If they're not willing to keep anything in Yiddishkeit, why would they give their life for God? Why would they, if you come to you and they say, bow down to an idol, you're ready to say, no, I'll die as a Jew. Why? You're not willing to live like a Jew. Why are you willing to die like a Jew? History. So, it happened out history. Jews are not willing to give up their Yiddishkeit, even if they didn't keep anything Yiddishkeit. That's the way it is. Why? Because they're based their Yiddishkeit on their reason, and Yiddishkeit is above reason. Since everything's based on reason, and I don't understand it, or my reason contradicts it, so therefore I'm not going to keep Yiddishkeit. When you're pushed to the wall, and you say, okay, you're not keeping Yiddishkeit anyway, become a guy, become bow down to an idol. No, I'm going to give up my life for God. What happened to everything else? Because now I don't have a reason. Reasons have gone. It's above my reason. You're right. I'm going to do it because it's above my reason. That shows that Yiddishkeit is above reason. Neshama is above reason. So really, be a religious Jew above reason. If you're willing to give your life up above reason, why can't you live like a Yid above reason? No, suddenly everything. So that's the way it is. A Jew is smarter, everything smarter than himself. This is what explains why insincere will typically give up the life for God or opt for suffer extreme pain rather than revolt against God. choosing to do so even though they were completely ignorant of anything about godliness. Great, they don't know. Avram Avinu. That's why the Gemara says Avram Avinu was great. The Jews throughout history were greater. Avram Avinu was ready to jump into a fire. Who's not were ready to jump into a fire? They jumped into fire. Avram Avinu was saved, while thousands and millions of Jews were not saved. They jumped into fire and they died. Avram Avinu spoke to God, while all these Jews died and never spoke to God. Never told them to jump into the fire. Make a big deal of Avram Avinu. God comes to Abraham and tells him, take your son. God will come to any Jew. Do that. They've done bigger things for God than Avram Avinu taking his son. If God would come to you, you would do it. Trust me, you would. Trust me, you would. Trust me, you would. You would if God came to you and you knew God came to you, you would do whatever God wants and finish. People do more bigger things. Truth is to give up yourself is bigger than to give up your son. And a little they knew, they don't. When Jews were Holocaust, thrown into the fire. Jews went to Jews went in the times of the Inquisition. They got burned. They said, "Take me and burn me. I'm not going to give up my Yiddishkeit." What do you mean? Thousands of Jews were put in fire and they didn't survive. It's not like Avram Avinu wasn't thrown into the fire and he walked out. They said either give up or that's like jumping into the fire. That's not the point. That was my point. I'm just saying that Yidden went on Mesiras Nefesh. Even though they had no revelation, they didn't speak to God, they didn't survive. Imagine if all those people were thrown into fire and they walked out like Avram Avinu or Kasdim. It would be a whole different story. The story would be different. It's not the story. They went to Kiddush Hashem and they died. And their lives were taken away. Avram Avinu was thrown into a fire and he walked out. Take my son and bring him to a sacrifice. And it didn't happen. Well, Chana, 7 children. Right? The Kleizerberger Rebbe, 11 children. Not one. And they didn't survive. So, come on, we're pretty big. So we talk about the greatness of Avram Avinu. There's great Jews out there. Great Jews. Not even okay, I just mentioned great tzaddikim, but you have thousands of Jews who gave up their lives and they saw their children perish in front of them, etc., throughout history. So even though they did not really possess, the tremendous sacrifice is not due to any great awareness. They didn't see no revelation. Yeah, they saw the revelation if they were dead, if they were murdered. That's not the Chachma. The Chachma is to see revelation alive. Rather, entirely beyond reason. It is impossible to revolt against God without any sort of connection or negotiation. The explanation for this is because the oneness of God energizes and animates the soul by integrating into Chachma that is higher than reason and cognization. You have the famous story in our time. The late Daniel Pearl, blessed memory, by stating, "I am a Jew," to his terrorist captors for being murdered, proclaimed his affiliation to a religion and national entity that is being part of Jewish history. And this Daniel Pearl, God should avenge his blood, was not a religious Jew. Yeah. This declaration encompasses a way of life belief, and views. To be a Jew means to be an outlook on the world, on a worldwide issue founded on Jewish principles based on the Torah. Every Jew feels a spiritual bond and an emotional attachment to Judaism, even if in the era of globalization, he hardly knows the basic concept of Judaism. They didn't know any of the basic concepts of Judaism. He had no idea what it meant. He didn't live it. Even if his bookcase says no books of dealing with Jewish faith, the Jewish people, the Jewish culture and history. From the video of his beheading, my name is Daniel Pearl. I am a Jewish American from Encino, California. I am, on my father's side, the Jewish side of family is Zionist. My father is Jewish. My mother is Jewish. I am Jewish. My family follows Judaism. We made numerous family visits to Israel. That is who I really am. I'm a Jew. That is the truth. He was not an old man. He was not a young guy. 30s, he must have been in his 30s. Whatever. He said it openly, without fear, without anything, and they murdered him. Self-understood. Yeah, sad situation. So he didn't see any great glory. God didn't reveal himself to him. How to kill Hashem. That's what the Gemara says. You can have a person who acquires this whole world in 1 minute, and this is what he did. By God's name, this is the self-understood. That video is viral. And viral, the whole world saw a Jew die because he was a Jew.
Something made him say something.
He said it. That he said it for himself. I think so. I'm not sure. And that is because once a person is put to that kind of situation, he says what it is. Says what it is. If you would have asked him before, he would have said, "No, I'm American. I have nothing to do with Judaism. I'm American. I live like an American. I don't do anything Jewish. Maybe I don't know if he went to Rosh Hashanah and Kippur the Shul. He was married to a non-Jew." So that's a proof, open proof, that Yiddishkeit, Torah, mitzvahs, God is not based totally on reality, on one's mind. It's one's essence. And we should never, ever, have to say, I'm going to come to realize that in a kind of situation like that. Everybody should realize it every day. That's his true essence. That's what he is. That's who he is, something that's above rationalization, above understanding. He's a Jew. He's a Jew because he's a Jew. He's not a Jew what he does. He's not a Jew what he doesn't do. He's a Jew because he's a Jew, because God gave him a soul. That's it. And finished. It's good. Once you start rationalizing, that's when you start, okay, when does it make sense to be Jewish? When does it make sense to be Jewish? When does it fit my agenda? When it doesn't fit my agenda? If it Alter Rebbe continues, text number 7, before they are faced with the ultimate of giving their life to God, the Chachma, the soul of a sinful Jew, along with the God spark invested in it, are in virtual captivity. That's the meaning of the Torah. You're selling yourself to a Nachri. You're selling yourself to the world. Your godly soul that you have within you, I have within you, is being sold to slavery. I've given away my chachma, I've given away my father, so to say, to the world. The animal soul, they become in control of his body. The Alter Rebbe continues. Wow, he brings down a lot of Alter Rebbe. So even an adulterous woman who's obviously out of her senses, control her impulse, if not for the spirit of folly that conceals the innate love within the godly soul that yearns to be close with God, and never be ripped apart from his oneness. The truth is, even the slightest sin tears and one entirely apart from oneness, from an exclusiveness of God. After that, it continues, the human soul is divided into two broad categories, cognitive and emotion. Cognitive is subdivided into three capacities, the creativity, wisdom, chachma, processing, bina. Creativity is chachma, processing is bina, and application is das. You have chachma is the creativity, the spark, the wisdom, and you have the processing, which chachma, the creativity is the av, the processing is the bina, is the mother, and the application is the children. Emotions subdivide into loving God and fearing God. The three cognitive capacities called mothers. Actually, all in Kabbalah, they are all called mother. Chachma, Bina, Das. These three things are called mother. The source of all emotions. For emotions are born out of the cognitive process. Therefore, in essence, my emotion to God is based on my knowledge of God. The way I understand him, the way my wisdom with three components, Chachma, Bin, and Das, the way I have wisdom in God, the way I have an understanding of God, and the way I have knowledge of God. And the more I have these three components, which is Av Ve'em, which is Chachma and Bina, and Das, the more I have an emotional connection to God. To explain, the cognitive capacity of the rational soul is able to perceive everything is called Chachma. The Hebrew word is a portmanteau of the two words, Koyachma, portmanteau, the connection, two words. You take the word Chachma, Chav, Ches, Mem, Hey, you divide it in half, it's called Koyachma, which is an abstract, unknown capacity. What is it? Koyachma. So wisdom is something that gives us the capability to be the inventor, to go above what we know. That's the connection in the above and the below is the wisdom, is wisdom. So wisdom always tells us that maybe I can go higher, right? I can go deeper. What I understand is me, because I understand why I understand. That's why I always need to have chachma. I always need to say no, but there's a deeper understanding. Maybe I can go deeper. Maybe I can accomplish something better. If good is better, not better. And that's the chachma. Chachma tells me I always can go better. No. Everybody. No. This is everybody. Everybody has chachma and bina. We all have the masculine and the feminine. It's all one thing. With the abstract representative is realized, namely when the person processes the creative flash to try to understand it properly, unpack it in its full depth, that's bina. So that's why it's the mother who develops the child. Take the bina and it develops the thought. Two steps are mother and father who collectively give birth to the emotions of love and fear of God. You have wisdom and understanding. Wisdom is a concept. Understanding is to understand the concept. You might understand it. You might not. That means that the wisdom, you have to work on the wisdom. Wisdom is a chachma. So I have a wisdom. I open up a chumash. Is the wisdom of God. Now, how you understand it? How you take the wisdom of God and apply it to my understanding. That's the bina. The child is the emotion. That should create a love or fear of God. That's the emotion. That's the children. So the way I understand something is the way it's gonna mean to me. That's it. So if I don't have any understanding, I have no emotion. If I don't have any knowledge, really the word knowledge is important. Knowledge. that it becomes mine. It becomes my knowledge. It's not just to understand something. I can understand a lot of things about doctors, but I'm not a doctor. I love to read medical books. I'm not going to be a doctor. I'm not interested in being a doctor. But I like the knowledge. I like the wisdom. I like it. It's interesting. No, it has to become my knowledge. That's when it becomes me. So I have a desire for it. I want it. Like anything in the world that when I find out about it, when I learn about it, I want it. I have a desire for it. What created my desire? Because I found out about it. Somebody told me about it. I looked into it. I researched it. I want it. You should only want things that make sense. That you should only want things. What was the advertisement of what was that? There was an advertisement for a suit store. We're looking for a smart buyer, whatever they say. We're looking for somebody who researched and then understands.
Educated consumer. An educated consumer,
right. We're looking for an educated consumer. Self-understood. We're not looking for just the consumer. Doesn't know what he's buying. Has no idea what doesn't see the quality in the product. He likes to buy. Then he has there's no value to him. There's no value. Self-understood, an educated consumer comes in, knows what he's looking for, has an understanding of the product, and then you sell it to him, you got a buyer. Because he knows what he wants. And therefore, so too, you need to be an educated consumer. Again, I said this in the morning, but that's what the Torah says. That the Torah says, Rashi says, it means you need to learn Torah. You need to be an educated consumer. David doesn't want to have a bunch of just based on faith. He wants an educated consumer. So instead of waiting for self-sacrifice, okay, you showed that your Yiddish guy is based on faith because you die as a Jew. I want living Jews, educated consumers. I want Jews that learn, understand what they're doing, and have a love to what they're doing because they understand it, they comprehend it. Now, this is a difficult thing. To be an educated consumer is a difficult thing. Why? Why is it a difficult thing, especially in the world that we live in? Because we are trapped in this world. We are trapped. We're too trapped in the world. Many of us have come to Yiddishkeit in our later stages of our life. And now, after we're ready, like the picture in a horse, and we're ready running on this horse, how am I supposed to uplift myself with my own pace? What are you sitting? This is impossible. You're telling me after I've been riding this horse for all this time, pick yourself up, go elevate yourself. I'm riding this horse already. I've already been on this journey for 20 years, living a very comfortable, good life. I've never done anything wrong. Now tell me, oh no, you got to. There's a higher living. There's greater living. God wants you to uplift yourself. God wants you to. Shalom Aleichem. How do we do that? How do we do that? How do we accomplish? It's not the easy thing to accomplish. And I tell you that it has nothing to do. I've been brought up as a from Jew, brought up since I was born. It's still a struggle to me. Don't think that that a from a Jew or myself don't go through struggles of Yiddishkeit. Not true. We all have a Yetzer Hara. We all have an evil inclination. We all have that horse that is dragging us down. That is telling us, you know what? There's no uplifting over here. There's no great, you're not going to get in Revelations. What are you looking for? What are you searching for? Something that Gemara has a general rule. This is an important rule. And the rule is, it's a very practical thing. Look at text number 10. The Gemara says, a prisoner cannot free himself from prison. That's the general rule. Ein chavish mater atzmai. A prisoner cannot free himself. The Gemara is talking about a person that's in spiritual prison, not a person, right? But we know, just like the physical prison, you need the guy out there with the key to open up the door. The Gemara says the same thing in the journey of life. Being in a dilemma in life, whether it's a physical or spiritual, you need somebody on the other side. You need a mentor. You need a mentor. That's what I started at the beginning. What the Rebbe said in the Mishnah Pirkei Avos. He emphasized many times. It says in that's our father. Asay lecha rav. Put upon yourself a mentor, a rav. It's not easy, but it's not easy, but it's needed. It's needed. No, that's the Rebbe. You'll soon see that's the Yetzer Hara. It's telling you can't find anybody because everybody wants Moshe Rabbeinu. Well, Moshe Rabbeinu is not here, so take him off your list. Okay? Everybody's saying, "Oh, if the rabbis were like the rabbis of the previous generation, I would." You have to deal with what you have, and you need. No, I'm not talking about myself, please. That's not my point. You need a say l'charav. You cannot to Yetzer Hara saying, "Oh, I can't find a mentor." No, search. You guide him with Tzasitamin. No, we're talking a mentor. Yeah, there's no such thing. It's hard. Nothing is hard. Nothing. There's no such thing as easy, and nothing is hard. If it's easy, it's not real. If it's hard, it's hard. You need. That's why the Mishnah says, "Asay lecha rav." You need to have a mentor. If you're not going to have a mentor, you will not ever redeem yourself. You're not going to redeem yourself. Try, and that's why the end of the pasuk. That's the answer. Ultimately, you got to do it. If you want to live in a world that you can't find a mentor, then you ultimately have to redeem yourself. Figure it out. Figure out how you're going to pick yourself up with your base, and you're going to lift up your horse with you. You're going to have to come to that conclusion if you can't find this mentor. But you need to find a mentor. And so find one person. Find one person.
Because they're so in demand.
Again, we can all give ourselves a million excuses, and we all do that, and you'll find a mentor. Okay. The Rebbe said it is an excuse, so go talk to him. For a Jew who has been sold, so that's how the Rebbe says in text number 11. For a Jew who has been sold into ownership of a non-Jew, the memory of his Father in heaven is completely forgotten. So much so that he no longer has control over himself. In such a situation, it's impossible for a slave to redeem himself as per the rule. A prisoner cannot free himself from prison. His redemption must come through outside intervention from someone in a position above his station who is not subject to the same servitude. That is why the first option in the verse is that are relative to redeem, namely someone that is above pulling about of his desperate situation. And the Rebbe continues, even someone who is completely upright, there are certainly matters in which they can improve. However, such is so much as a person who loves himself. A person cannot rely on themselves to entirely certain that they are behaving in an appropriate manner. The solution of this problem is that Rebbe turned to all his chassidim. He said, I don't care how righteous you think you are. I'm telling you, the Mishnah doesn't say, Asay l'charav, to a person that thinks he's not righteous. The Mishnah is talking to everybody. The Mishnah says everybody, even the Rav needs a Rav. The Rav is mentor. I don't know. Give him a call. So don't make an announcement who your mentor is. Appoint a mentor for yourself. Then it say the same Mishnah says a Rav is not as a friend. A Rav is a person who can be objective. That's it. A friend is not always objective. He's afraid you're going to break your friendship. A Rav is, let's say, it's a Seilach Rav. You're not acquiring a friend. You're acquiring a mentor. Somebody's going to tell you, Zalman, you're not doing it right. Sometimes you lose your friendship the second you say that. You're not doing it right. Same thing. That's a Rav. That's a Rav. That's a mentor. Everyone should nominate someone greater than themselves with whom to ask and clarify all the personal fears. Be it their effort to abstain from negativity or proactively doing good things. You need to have somebody who you can confide in. It's very important. And the Rebbe was very adamant about this. And he says further, we should add this even in the case of an advanced, pious Torah scholar who has trouble finding someone greater than him, right? He's like the scholar of the generation. So who he's going to find? Then the Meiri suggests, Meiri was one of the commentators on the Mishnah. He said, even if one cannot find a scholar or his own stature, they should nominate someone inferior. Let them go. You're right. You are the smartest in the group, and you are the tzaddik of the group. You should then the Meiri says, Mishnah tells you, nevertheless, say l'charav. Go and get yourself somebody who's inferior to you. The people are able to see solutions because that person might see something that you need rectification. Say l'charav. It's an important thing.
And then it says,
whatever, that's a second, like a part of the Mishnah, but say l'charav. This law, say l'charav. Make it, get a mentor. And he doesn't have to be somebody that's greater than you. That you cannot find. The Mishnah directive, appoint a mentor for yourself, means even if they are unworthy. It is explicitly stated with regard to in such situation that an element of coercion is necessary. Asay l'charav. Say l'charav means doesn't like a friend. Knei l'chachaver. Asay l'charav means you put upon yourself a rav. That means you put upon yourself a mentor. You're going to go to that person and you're going to accept what he or she says. You're going to approach that person in your dilemma and you're going to accept it. Not strange. It's a Mishnah. The Mishnah that is our father, say l'charav. Because you cannot redeem yourself. That's why. You cannot redeem. If you want to be in prison the rest of your life, then gesundheit. But if you want to, everybody wants to get out his dilemmas, you need to make yourself a mentor. You need to find a mentor. Because that you're asking that person to look and to see if what you're doing is right or wrong. That's all you're asking him. And a person outside can say, you know what you're doing is wrong. Because what you're doing wrong might be not in knowledge, might be in ethics, might be in morals, and if I can see you're not you might be a great knowledgeable person, but you're not a nice person. You didn't do a nice thing. You did the wrong thing. You have to be accepted. The truth is, I can tell you that a Aseh l'charav could be in the concept of when somebody comes and tell you you've done something wrong. That moment, Aseh l'charav, listen to him as a mentor. Somebody comes and tells you, hello, Rabbi, I think you were not a nice person. You weren't nice to that person. Say l'charav. Don't say, who are you? Who are you to tell me what is right and what's wrong? You're lower than me? No. At that moment, maybe he's right. Consider it right. Consider it Rav. Consider him, and maybe, what is he? Maybe he's right. Maybe I was not a nice person. Now go and rectify it. Fix your mistake. Don't say, oh, I can't accept it. Who are you? Who are you to tell me what's right and what's wrong? Who are you to tell me that I've done something wrong? Say l'charav. That moment, redeem yourself. Free yourself. Don't drag yourself more into prison. Free yourself. You guys take it as a compliment. Take it as a compliment. The guy's telling you, you can be better. Somebody tells you, hello, I see you're not happy. I see you can be happier. I see you're negative. Take it as a compliment. If he got up in shul and said, ladies and gentlemen, this guy's in there. I can understand. He's trying to embarrass you. Comes to tell you, I think that you've done something wrong. Say l'charav. Let that become a teaching. Let that become your Rav. But we don't do that. We right away build up a wall. Say a chutzpah. Who has a chutzpah to come and tell me what's wrong? Who has a right to come and tell me what's right and what's wrong? That's the opposite of Mishnah. The Mishnah is telling us, accept the rebuke. Learn something. You're not the perfect entity. It's my phone. You're not the perfect entity specimen in the world. Yeah. You cannot redeem yourself. You have to realize. That's why this is important. We struggle with mental health in society. Why are we struggling with this? Everybody needs to have help. We all have mental health problems. We all need help. There's nothing wrong with somebody else going for help. I say l'charav. What's so terrible that you have a issue? Go and get help. We all need to have mentors. Not only the person that has seemingly mental issues. All of us need to have we all are mentally not perfect. Talking about Sela Charab, you murdered somebody, we're not talking about it. We're talking about mental concepts. We're talking about emotional, intellectual concepts. Sela Charab. So in essence, when the Mishnah Sela Charab means, my friend, you all need psychiatrists, psychologists. You all need it. Nobody. And that's what the Rebbe said. Everybody thinks, no, I'm perfect. There's no such thing as a person's perfect. And the Rebbe brings down the Meiri. He says, oh, the guy said, I'm perfect. You're not perfect. The Meiri said, Tzaddik is a Torah scholar. The Mishnah says, Asel Charav. You're a Torah scholar. Trust me, there's something in your life that's not perfect. So get it out and work it out. There's something in your life that you're a prisoner to, that you have a handicap. You're a prisoner to. Get it out. I tell people, why are you embarrassed? Go to a psychologist. We all need it. We all should go to it. We all should go to it. We all should have a mentor, somebody who we talk to and we tell them, or they can talk to us and tell us the facts of life. To be good, what are they telling you? Something that you don't know. What does any psychologist tell you? Something you don't know? You know it. You always know it, but seemingly what somebody else tells you, it sounds like more professional. We all need therapy. It's not the end of the world. And that's a Sel Charav therapy. in a nice way. And the truth is that Rebbe said, everybody should be a Rab. When a person comes over to you and says, I want you to be my Rab, you should be a Rab. Shouldn't either be the person that says, you know what, I'm not the right person. That's not either correct. Somebody comes to you and says, I want you to be my mentor, you should become his mentor. What happened when Moshe Rabbeinu, when Isa said, you are the therapist for this nation, you're gonna collapse. You can't have one therapist for the whole nation. It's not gonna work. You need to delegate. There need to be more therapists in this group. You need to have more leaders. It's not gonna happen. You can't have one therapist. We cannot all go to one therapist. That's the point where even we say that Jews we're guarantors, we're responsible for one another. We need to help each other. If a person comes to you and tells you, listen, you know what? When you see me doing something wrong, please tell me. Say l'charav. When you see I'm falling in depression, you see I'm getting angry, please inform me. Say l'charav. The concept of say l'charav, that you go to another person, say, listen, be objective. When you see me doing something wrong, please tell me. You don't want your wife to tell you. Personal. That would be beautiful. That's a say l'charav. That's a simple meaning. Let's say l'charav. So if I'm going to wait for myself to elevate myself, I'm going to tell my wife what's going to get me angry. I'll never elevate myself. I want somebody else to tell me. You know what? You need to, and trust me, it happens to me constantly. People tell me, oh, you were not nice to this guy. You didn't do this right. Perfect. Nobody's perfect. Say l'charav. We all can be better. There's nothing wrong reaching out to somebody else and getting help. You're going to find a perfect situation? Most probably not. Most probably not. Like there's no such thing as a perfect therapist either. But a person has a mental issue and he finds in one therapist doesn't work, another therapist doesn't work, you stop? No, you continue to find it. You continue to go. It's like a person gets sick and one doctor doesn't help you. You go to the next doctor, you go to the next doctor, you go to the next doctor, you don't give up. Why I'm saying this strongly, because again, I think the Rebbe would push this very hard. And trust me, for Chassidim, it was a very hard thing to do. Because the Rebbe, right? Everybody was going to the Rebbe. The Rebbe said, no. I said, l'charav. I want every chassid, I want each and every one of you to have a Rav, to have a mentor. It's a Mishnah. It doesn't take away my responsibilities, but you need a Rav. Because I cannot come to you, every person tell you, oh, you're not doing this. You need a Rav that's close to you, that can watch you, that sees what you're doing. The thing. So it's explicitly stated in regards to such a situation that the elements of coercion is necessary. The word appoint here comes to connotate the active effort that requires exertion, investment, and something even a little force. I'm at the end of text number 13.
Bottom of page 74.
So the Rebbe was very, very powerful about this. Say l'charav. And the Rebbe continues. Text number 14. We ought to bring up something that even though the Mishnah commentaries may not bring up, we all know it. Even after nominating a mentor, we oftentimes question whether we must bring up every specific thing, or perhaps the question can wait. And so a great ethical principle teaches us how critical it is us to ask the mentor about everything. In fact, precedence should be given to those matters about which you are fairly certain you're not behaving appropriately. Don't have your mentor for your Chassidic questions. Don't have your mentor for halachic questions. No, have your mentor to tell you that you're not doing something right. What the Mishnah means. The Mishnah doesn't make yourself have a rabbi for your halachic questions. Have a rabbi for your philosophical questions. Have a rabbi that's going to tell you you're not a mensch. You're not a mensch. That's the rabbi that the Mishnah is talking about. Yeah, so we all say, I meant, have a rabbi. When you have a problem in the Chumash, you go to him. No, that's not the rabbi I'm talking about. You have a teacher. You have a lot of teachers that can teach you the Chumash. I'm looking for, you need to have a Rav that's going to tell you, my friend, that's why it's a mentor. You need to have a mentor to tell you. That's why it doesn't have to be the great scholar. It needs to be somebody who knows who you are and will tell you, hello, you're not so perfect. You need to work on your character A. You need to work on character B. You need to elevate yourself in A. You need to change B. That's what I mean that Rebbe says, Aseh l'chara. That's what the Mishnah means, Aseh l'chara. Or worse yet, then no matters about which you are doubtful, or things that I've heard from others are not up to snuff. Everyone, right? When somebody is negative, we pick up our nose. Oh, we become a chutzpah. Somebody tells me I'm not a nice person. I'm the nicest person that walked the world. So the Rebbe ends off this beautiful sikha. It says the very knowledge that one will occasionally be held accountable to another human being will automatically improve his behavior and motivate them to increase all positive and holy activities. If you make yourself harab, you go to another person and you tell him, you're my mentor. I want you to tell me when I'm doing something wrong. I want you to be the one who tells me when I get angry, when I get frustrated, when I scream, I want you to be there. You tell me. You're gonna stop doing it. You're gonna stop doing it. Stop getting angry because your mentor is watching you. So I got my mentor in California. These are important things. A person cannot free himself, and people with great wisdom and great knowledge still cannot free themselves. Because Adam Ayvasad, he's also, just like a person give away his wisdom to to a non-Jew, a person give away his wisdom to his own nefesh habahamis. He can give away his wisdom to his own animal soul. The Gemara calls the goya shebekirbecha, the evil that's within you. I give it away my wisdom. Adam Ayvasad, a person loves himself, so he cannot do anything wrong. Everything is perfect. And he's the victim, or if he's doing something wrong, it's not him, it's his victim. He's the victim. He has the right to be angry. He has the right to scream. He has the right to be whatever you might say. And a person might come, you know what? You don't have the right. All the excuses in the world is not, you don't have the right to be angry. You don't have the right to be depressed. You don't have the right to scream. You don't have the right to be bossy, to be abusive. And that's the Mishnah, say l'charav. That's the Mishnah. Put upon yourself a rav. Make yourself mentor. Every one of us should have a mentor. I would hope. Correct. But we're talking not to a child. The Mishnah is not talking to a child. The Mishnah is talking to an adult. Say l'cha rav. You need to have a mentor. And as the Mishnah continues, uknei l'cha chaver, and acquire yourself a good friend. So I'm not arguing with a good friend. You need to acquire a good friend, but doesn't. Okay, there's many interpretations to that meaning. Because that's what it says. A good friend is also somebody that can tell you that you what you're right and what you're wrong. What you do right. It's a different kind of level. of that. But it's very much, see, a good friend is more objective, is more subjective. Because we're friends. Automatically friends, we want to keep, we have something that's keeping the tie. A Rav, it's not your friend. That's not his job. His job is to not be your friend in a way, or to be your real friend, because he has no loss. There's no loss. You're okay. You don't meet my Rav. I won't be a Rav. Have a good day. Wish you luck. But Rav is a person who will come tell you, hey, you know what? You need to change. You need to change. It's not a good thing. And any therapist, well, that's why we go. That's why many times I met people go from therapist because the second the therapist, usually the therapist throws it back at them, then they say, oh, you're not a good therapist anymore. When he throws it back at them, look in the mirror yourself. Maybe something's wrong with you. Usually everything's wrong with everybody else. But when the married therapist usually sometimes says, oh, it's you, we're out. Second, it's you. What do you mean? It's not me. It's him. It's the other way. You're judging me. And that's the problem. Because the therapist ultimately, a good therapist will ultimately say, my friend, I don't think it's everybody else. I think it's you. You have the problem. You're the problem. You're the problem. Not the other person's the problem. You're the problem. Then the second you hear that, oh no, I can't accept that. I'm not paying you to tell me I'm the problem. I'm paying you to tell me somebody else is the problem. So that's why I'm paying you the big bucks to tell me I'm the problem. I could have said that myself. But and the truth is, you could have said it yourself. But that's a good therapist ultimately. The therapist can tell him, challenge a person, say you need to rectify yourself. You need to change. You need to change. You're not going to change somebody else. You only can change yourself. Okay, beautiful Sikh of the Rebbe, very practical, very something we can take with us. I wish you all a wonderful and beautiful day. We'll see you next week.